power of African storytelling, weaving wisdom, connection, and cultural heritage. Imagine a world where every interaction is an opportunity for transformation, a world where the stories we tell and the stories we hear have the power to heal wounds, bridge divides, and ignite change. This isn't a far-off utopia, my friends. This is the world we can create right here, right now, through the timeless art of storytelling. Today, I'm thrilled to share with you the profound insights I've gained from an extraordinary individual who's dedicated her life to enriching our world through the power of narrative. Subomi Macaulay, known as the African Storyteller, is a visionary whose work transcends mere entertainment. She's a cultural alchemist, transforming ancient wisdom into modern-day solutions, touching lives across generations and continents. Subomi's impact is nothing short of revolutionary. She's not just preserving African culture, she's breathing new life into it, making it relevant and vital in our fast-paced, digitally driven world. Her stories are more than just tales. They're bridges between past and present, between cultures and generations, between strangers who become friends. As I sat down with Subomi, I was struck by the depth of her wisdom and the warmth of her presence. Her words seemed to resonate with the truth that transcends time and place, speaking directly to the heart of what it means to be human in this complex, often fragmented world. Let's start with a simple yet profound truth. We are all storytellers. Every day, in every interaction, we're crafting narratives. We tell stories about who we are, what we believe, and how we see the world. But how often do we pause to consider the immense power these stories hold? How frequently do we truly, deeply listen to the stories of others? Subomi's work serves as a powerful reminder that storytelling is far more than mere entertainment. It's a fundamental tool for understanding ourselves and others. It's a bridge that spans the gaps between generations, a vessel that carries ancient wisdom into the present, and a catalyst for profound personal and societal change. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, stories have the extraordinary ability to bring us together, to help us see the world through different eyes, to foster empathy and understanding where before there was only ignorance or fear. But here's the crucial point. Not all stories are created equal. Some stories uplift and inspire, while others divide and diminish. The stories we choose to tell, and perhaps more importantly, the stories we choose to listen to, shape our reality in ways we can scarcely imagine. This is where the wisdom of African storytelling comes into play. It's not merely about recounting events or entertaining an audience. African storytelling, as Subomi so eloquently explains, is about imparting life lessons, preserving cultural values, and fostering a sense of community. It's a holistic approach to communication that engages not just the mind, but the heart and soul as well. During our conversation, Subomi shared a proverb that struck me to my core. Until the lion learns to write, every story will glorify the hunter. Take a moment to let that sink in. This simple statement carries a profound truth about the power dynamics inherent in storytelling. It reminds us that our stories, the ones we tell about ourselves and others, have the power to shape perceptions, challenge stereotypes, and rewrite long-held narratives. Think about that for a moment. How many times have we accepted a single story about a person, a culture, or an entire continent without questioning it? How often have we allowed others to define our narrative instead of claiming the power to tell our own stories? This is where vulnerability enters the picture, because telling our authentic stories, the ones that reveal our true selves with all our flaws and strengths, requires immense courage. It demands that we step out of our comfort zones and into a space of openness and honesty. Subomi's approach to storytelling embodies this vulnerability. She doesn't shy away from difficult truths or painful histories. Instead, she uses stories to confront these realities head on, to heal deep-seated wounds and to build bridges of understanding where before there were only walls of ignorance or fear. One of the most powerful insights I gained from our conversation is the idea that relationships are the true diamonds of our lives. In a world that often prioritizes material success and individual achievement above all else, this perspective is nothing short of revolutionary. It reminds us that our true wealth lies not in our bank accounts or our possessions, but in the connections we forge, the love we share, and the impact we have on others. I want you to take a moment right now to think about the relationships in your life, the friendships that have weathered storms and stood the test of time, the family bonds that have shaped who you are at your very core, the connections with colleagues and community members that enrich your daily experiences. These, my friends, are your diamonds. They're precious, valuable, and worthy of your utmost care and attention. But here's the challenge. Like diamonds, relationships require work to reveal their true brilliance. They need to be cultivated, polished, and sometimes even cut to bring out their best qualities. This process can be uncomfortable, even painful at times. It requires us to be vulnerable, to communicate openly, and to face our own shortcomings head on. Subomi's stories often explore this theme of relationship building in profound and moving ways. She shared with me a traditional African tale about two brothers who were constantly at odds, fighting and bickering at every turn. Their father, wise in the ways of human nature, gave them a bundle of sticks and asked them to break it. Try as they might, neither brother could break the bundle. Then the father untied the bundle and asked them to break the sticks individually. Of course, this was easy. The lesson, together we are stronger. Our relationships, when nurtured and maintained, provide us with a strength and resilience that we could never achieve alone. But this strength doesn't come automatically. It requires effort, understanding, and a willingness to work through conflicts and differences. This brings me to another crucial insight from my conversation with Subomi, the paramount importance of active listening. In the African storytelling tradition, listening is not a passive act. It's an engaged participatory process. The audience doesn't just sit back and receive the story. They interact with it, respond to it, and often help shape its outcome. Imagine if we approached all our relationships with this level of engaged listening. If instead of waiting for our turn to speak, we truly heard what others were saying. If we listened not just to the words, but to the emotions, the unspoken truth, the stories behind the stories. This kind of deep listening requires vulnerability. It means being open to having our assumptions challenged, our perspectives shifted. It means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that every person we encounter has something valuable to teach us. Subomi's work reminds us that stories are not just entertainment, they're tools for empathy and understanding. When we share our stories and when we truly listen to the stories of others, we create space for connection, for healing, and for growth. But here's the hard truth. In our fast-paced, digitally driven world, we're losing the art of storytelling and deep listening. We're bombarded with information, but starved for wisdom. We're more connected than ever through technology, but often feel profoundly disconnected from each other on a human level. This is where the power of African storytelling becomes not just relevant, but crucial. It offers us a way back to our shared humanity. It reminds us of the importance of face-to-face communication, of creating spaces where people can come together to share, to listen, and to learn from one another. Subomi's work is more than just a celebration of African culture. It's a call to action. It's an invitation to reclaim the power of storytelling in our lives, to use stories not just to entertain, but to educate, to heal, to bridge divides, and to create positive change in our communities and in the world. So what does this mean for you? How can you harness the power of storytelling in your own life? First, start by recognizing the stories you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, and what's possible in your life. Are these stories serving you? Are they limiting you? Remember, you have the power to rewrite your narrative at any time. Second, make a commitment to share your authentic stories with others. This doesn't mean oversharing or ignoring boundaries. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to show your true self, even when it's uncomfortable. Your story, with all its ups and downs, and successes and failures, has the power to inspire and connect with others in ways you might never imagine. Third, become an active listener. The next time someone is sharing with you, challenge yourself to listen deeply, not just to the words, but to the emotions, the unspoken truths. Ask questions. Seek to understand, not just to respond. Fourth, seek out diverse stories. Make a conscious effort to expose yourself to narratives from different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives. This is how we grow, how we challenge our assumptions, and how we build empathy and understanding. Finally, consider how you can use storytelling to make a positive impact in your community. Could you start a storytelling circle at work or in your neighborhood? Could you use stories to bridge generational gaps in your family? Could you incorporate storytelling into your leadership style to inspire and motivate others? Let me share with you a powerful example of how storytelling can transform lives and communities. In a small village in Nigeria, Subomi initiated a storytelling program for at-risk youth. These were children who had been written off by society, labeled as troublemakers or lost causes. Through the power of storytelling, Subomi helped these young people reconnect with their cultural heritage and discover their own inner strength. She encouraged them to share their own stories, no matter how painful or difficult. As they opened up, something remarkable happened. The community began to see these youth in a new light. They weren't just troublemakers, they were individuals with hopes, dreams, and potential. One young man, let's call him Adebayo, had been on the verge of joining a local gang. But through the storytelling program, he discovered a talent for performance and a passion for his culture's oral traditions. Today, Adebayo is a respected community leader, using storytelling to mentor other at-risk youth and bridge generational divides. This is the transformative power of storytelling. It has the ability to change not just individual lives, but entire communities. It can rewrite narratives of despair into stories of hope and resilience. Now, let me tell you about Maria, a corporate executive in Johannesburg who attended one of Subomi's storytelling workshops. Maria had always prided herself on her logical, no-nonsense approach to business. She was successful, but she felt something was missing in her leadership style. Through Subomi's teachings, Maria learned to incorporate storytelling into her communication strategy. She began sharing personal anecdotes in team meetings, using metaphors to explain complex ideas, and encouraging her employees to share their own stories. The results were astounding. Employee engagement soared. Team cohesion improved dramatically. People felt more connected to the company's mission and to each other. Maria's team became known for its innovation and creativity, all because she had created a culture where people felt safe to share their ideas and experiences. This is the power of storytelling in action. It's not just for children or entertainment. It's a powerful tool for leadership, for building strong teams, and for driving innovation in the business world. Let me share one more story with you, one that illustrates the healing power of storytelling. In a community torn apart by ethnic conflict, Subomi facilitated a storytelling circle that brought together people from opposing sides. At first, the tension was palpable. No one wanted to speak, let alone listen to their enemies. But as Subomi gently encouraged them to share their experiences, something remarkable happened. They began to see each other not as faceless opponents, but as human beings with hopes, fears, and dreams just like their own. One man shared the story of losing his father in the conflict. A woman from the opposite side wept as she recounted a similar loss. Through their stories, they found common ground. They discovered that their pain, their love for their families, their hopes for peace, these were universal. The storytelling circle became a space for healing, for understanding, and ultimately for reconciliation. This is the transformative power of storytelling at its finest. It has the ability to heal wounds that seem impossible to mend, to build bridges across the deepest divides. As we come to the end of our time together, I want to leave you with one final thought from my conversation with Subomi. She said, stories are the threads that weave the fabric of our shared humanity. Every time we share a story, every time we truly listen to another's story, we strengthen that fabric. In a world that often feels divided and fragmented, this message is more important than ever. We have the power, through our stories and our willingness to listen, to create connection, to foster understanding, and to build a more compassionate world. So I challenge you right here, right now, go out and tell your story. Not just the polished social media version, but your real, authentic story. Share your struggles, your triumphs, your doubts, and your dreams. Have the courage to be vulnerable. And equally important, listen. Really listen to the stories of others. Seek out voices that are different from your own. Listen to understand, not to respond. Allow yourself to be changed by the stories you hear. Use the power of narrative to build bridges, not walls. Remember that your relationships are the true diamonds in your life. Treasure them. Nurture them, let them shine. Incorporate storytelling into every aspect of your life. Use it to inspire your team at work. Use it to connect with your children or your parents. Use it to heal rifts in your community. Become a keeper of stories, a weaver of connections, and above all, never, ever underestimate the power of a well told story to change a heart, to change a mind, and ultimately to change the world. The wisdom of African storytelling teaches us that we are all interconnected, that our stories are part of a greater narrative. Your story matters. It has the power to inspire, to heal, to transform. Don't keep it to yourself. As you leave here today, I want you to remember this. You are the author of your own story and a co author in the grand narrative of humanity. What chapter will you write next? How will your story contribute to the tapestry of our shared human experience? The power is in your hands. The world is waiting for your story. Go forth and tell it. Listen to others. Create connections. Weave the fabric of our shared humanity stronger with every word you speak and every story you hear. Thank you.